Back again with another Civic episode. On this episode I'm going to demonstrate how I repair a rotten sill. We're going to weld it up and I'm going to bring you guys along and show you step by step how I do it. Not the correct way probably, but let's get started. I'm going to have to carry this full repair out laying on my back, which is going to be very awkward and probably fiery. So let's test out these overalls. I've got just a piece of cardboard down just now, just to stop me from laying directly onto the ground. I've just utilised the ramp here. These ramps are handy, but this is a problem with this ramp, getting access to sills and stuff, especially when there's a few Hondas I've had on now, like a Honda Jazz and different stuff. With the exhaust running up the side, it always clinks on the ramp. So this is going to be an awkward repair. We'll try my very best to try and bring you guys along and do a kind of point of view repair. Not sure how much we're going to have to strip yet, whether the side skirt's going to have to come off or indeed the interior carpet, etc. If I can get away with it, we might just have Michelle on fire watch. But let's get dug into this. Bear with me here, this is going to be difficult. So I think that was the hole on the sill there that I originally seen when we had it on the ramp when we first inspected, but as I move up here, there's a rather big one there, and then up the opposite side we've got a hole, and where is it? We've got one there. I think that used to be an actual hole, but it's elongated in such a way, and maybe something to fix here. The biggest one being, apologies, the biggest one being this one here, and there. I'm lying on my back here, guys, so the camera work's going to be very shocking. I've found the modification to the exhaust as to why it sounds pretty different. I'm assuming there's a resonator or something supposed to be there, and they've welded this pipe in. Now, I did have a look at the other side, and it seems to be better because it's got a cover that runs the whole length of the sill, but because this one is the channel for the exhaust, there is obviously no such plastic cover as it would melt. We're going to have to probably take the side skirt off and that section of exhaust, which we've had off before at the back, but if you look up in here, the condition of these nuts is actually rubbish, so that's going to be difficult to get that off. We really could be doing with the exhaust out our way. So that is the aftermath of the 3 exhaust nuts. It was very difficult under there to bring you guys along, but I'm going to show you. I use a variation of these tools, but pretty much straight off the bat went straight with some heat, so that's just propane, and then on with twist sockets. These don't even try and use a normal socket, it would have been a complete waste of time, and you can see that how much there is nothing left of some of them. So just heated it up straight on with a twist socket. If it wasn't wanting to crack, I just give it some more heat, and then that is the aftermath. And now, because I'm using a scissor ramp and it's an absolute pain, because Honda exhaust run up this side, I now need to, so I brought it back on the ramp because I needed to remove the back wheel in order to get one of the screws off for the side skirt, and so I used that opportunity to access the flange there to remove this section of exhaust. I now need to remove the backs, unbolt the back section of exhaust, then lower the car, move it back the way off the ramp so that I can lower the exhaust out, get the side skirt off, and then we should be able to start talking about welding. So we've removed the exhaust section, giving us access here, and we're going to expose the full extent of damage here and what we can do. So it's a bit worse than I thought. When I first had it on the ramp, I think I either seen this hole or this little hole up in here, and that's because it's a scissor lift. That's all I thought was wrong with this. This is a surprise to me. What we can do though is I might be able to make if depending on how solid this is, might be able to cut here and make a box section there. Same here maybe, but I don't trust this here, so it might be, instead of making the same mistake, it might be better just to make a full box section there. It's got a recess in it here. I'm not really bothered if I replicate that recess or not. We're going for strength over beauty. Should probably get that on a t-shirt. Michelle's in the office doing paperwork.
Being insulted.
So strength over beauty. We should put that Michelle on a t-shirt with a set of weights. Strength over beauty. Let me know if you want to order one of those. So we're going to try this. I'm going to try and bring you guys under here. This is absolute torture for me because the position we're in, and I'm laying on my back right now, but so be it. I promised some action. An MOT tester won't use a hammer like this. They'll use a smaller one, but I can be quite aggressive because it's my car. So let's start chapping. I'm very suspect about here. Listen to the sound difference. Oh, that's all coming away. That's just a bit soft. Doesn't look as if it's going to burst, but we're still going to need to do something with it. So just a bit soft, to be honest. It's time for the wire wheel. Expose what we're going to have to cut out and then take it from there. I'm not going to record the wire wheel, guys. I won't be able to hold everything at once using power tools, so I'm going to wheel this off and then we're going to cut back to here. Something to note under here, obviously when you're welding, I've removed the side skirt because it's plastic and we're using heat and flames obviously. I think I'm going to get away with, depending on how far I take it here, without taking the interior out. If I'm going up onto the floor, obviously there's sound deadening and insulation and carpet above there, so be very careful. Because this box section, if you look through there, I'm not really accessing the interior here, so I might be able to get away with it, but I'm still going to have Michelle on fire watch. But at any point, if I think that it's not going to be safe enough, we're going to have to stop and remove the interior. So I have wire wheeled. You can see that we have got a little bit of problem there, a little bit here, and then obviously a big bit there. So I think it's going to be obviously better to cut whole section out and make a box. I'm going to ignore the recess. I think this bit here is strong enough, so I'm going to leave 10mm, 15mm, hopefully as much as I can, to catch on to, and then we're going to fold it down and I'm going to run a seam up here. If you look here and you see these little circles, can you see them? The little circles, those are spot welds from the factory. If you buff those away or drill them out, you'll be able to take that full bit off, and then you could actually make a box section that comes down, across and then down again, and drill your own holes and then repeat the process and spot weld back on, and that would fix you here. But because I'm kind of cautious on what we've got, I'm going to keep this because it looks healthy and hopefully I can catch on to it. So I've got a weld. Try and get as much sealer off as you can because that's obviously going to burn. I've not done this section yet. I'm just giving you an example for here. We've also opened up a little problem there, which is going to have to need sorted as well. And then we'll move up to the back and the front, but I want to cover the largest section for my demonstration so that I can show you guys. Yeah, so I'm just recording this way so as it's not too much the other way and you guys still get to see me doing the work and stuff. We have our first cut and it never took too long. We just drew a Sharpie line of where we wanted to cut. Some of it is awkward to access So maybe not reached as far up as the Sharpie, but I think I'm still on solid metal, so I'll give you guys a peek under there. This is a car here, so we're laying down on the ground. It's very awkward, it's quite difficult, but don't shy away from it. Hopefully with the steps I'm showing, if you haven't done it before, this will give you an indication of what to expect. If you have done it before, then you will know my pain, and this is only half of it. We've still got the actual welding to do. I've got my ramp on the first lock, and I'm actually going to put axle stands under there as well, so that we're staying nice and safe, no one's getting hurt. Smelly old crappy Hondas aren't worth anyone's life, so just be careful with what you're doing. I'm going to show you guys underneath now and show you where I've cut. Okay, so here is our first section. I still have that bit to deal with, but I'm going to do this first. I'm planning on I've just left a slight edge here. I'm planning on catching onto there. This bit here is solid enough, so we're going to catch on here. That is my original Sharpie line up there, but it's quite hard to access with the grinder up in there to make the cut. So I've just left it overhanging there. I will overlap though, and just so that we're getting plenty. You can see here all the rubbish coming out. Like I said earlier about the interior, I'm quite okay here for the moment, but when I'd done the Integra, you would have seen it was more floor than sill, the way that it was shaped, and I had to strip the interior out, so just be careful with what you're doing. I've got that little bit there to break off, and then what we're going to do is we're going to try and shine up this edge here and shine up that edge there, get our box section made up. We're just going to I'm just going to measure down to here and then measure the depth there, add it together to make a total, and then just put my fold in so as we've got a little box section, and then we're going to try and tack it onto this little lip here. I've left a very slight edge there. If we butt it against there, hopefully we can weld against that, and that will be the first section done. This one is a bit more awkward but smaller, and same with the back one, but we're going to do this right now. So over to my fabrication area. I've cut a little section out my sheet, which was here. This is it, and I've made a bend on it. To make the bend, I simply put my black marks. You can barely see them on there. Pen mark there. And I just folded it over the table and hit it with a hammer. I've kind of offered it up, and I've just nicked a little edge off here on this side, just to let it fit in a little recess. So that's that. I'm just going to offer it up. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to put kind of 2 tacks in place, and then we can start zipping up the weld. Before we start welding, disconnect the battery, just stops anything from being fried. So here is the box section I have offered up. There it's there. I'm at a very awkward angle here, guys, and I've got a welding helmet on, which is weighing me down. Don't worry about this hole here just now. We're going to catch on to that when we do this bit here. But that is my first box section offered up there, and don't worry about that bit, we will catch it as well. And so I've just tacked it in place, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tacks, and it's not too bad. I'm kind of happy with that right now. There's just a little wedge there. You'll see a little gap across the bottom. We should be able to catch that with the welder, no problem. We'll take that sticker off with the wire wheel. But yeah, that's kind of how you do it. When I'm welding this, I'm just going to weld like an inch stitch along here, and then I'll move, and then it's just to stop the metal heating up and doing whatever it wants. Basically, it will start warping and distorting. So if I just do like an inch and then move over here and do an inch and an inch up there, it will give it time to cool down between welds. But you can see there a massive improvement from what we have taken off, so I hope you guys are quite happy with. I just want to clarify, I am not a fabricator, never been trained to be a fabricator. I just picked up some welding, first from my dad in all the wrong ways, and then second from my brother-in-law Scott, who is a fabricator. So any tips or anything I've picked up is kind of off him. But yeah, you can do it, simple steps. And as long as you've got clean metal, that's half the battle. That's why I left that little edge on there, because you can see I've got on it clean enough, no trouble, without blowing through. So yeah, you can do it yourself. Okay, so I've started welding this side here, guys, and I'm just doing little inch. That's more than an inch because I've done more than that, but I'm just doing some welding. In here's not the best in this bit. I've been adjusting the settings on the welder, plus there was a slight gap, so I'm having to try and do a slight kind of step overlap to fill the space as I move along. You'll see a little hole in there. It's just where I'm slightly shy with my metal, so I'm just tacking along. It's not exactly the 100% the best going onto this old bit, but it's definitely strong enough. I think my welds, as you can see by that one and that one, might be better along the top, but we're just going to keep cracking away. I'll set you guys up and see what I can do. You see that's still going, so a few stitches like that and then we'll move on to another section so that it doesn't start to distort. That's pretty good welds, as you can hear, so I'll show you these ones. That's them there, so pretty good. I'm going to scrape that sticker off now. It's heated up so it should be easy to come off, and then we'll start stitches here and then just the same along, do about an inch or so. You can see that that one's welding a lot better than the bottom, but that's still pretty good in there. It's not bad. But I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to set you guys up and then I'll start firing along there. Kom nu basta! If I put a stitch here, then it now means that the metal's not vibrating as much, and I can use my little hammer just to make sure that it's staying in and it's not bending and we're not opening a big gap. So I'm always using the hammer just to, once it heats it bends easier and we can keep it closed so we can start welding. That's shit. Okay, so progress update. We have finished that run there and that run down there. There's some little proud bits that weren't the best, some dressing to do and stuff, but what's the saying, strength over beauty. So we've got a nice strong section of sill now. Don't concern yourself with that edge here just now, because I'm going to have to do something here and I'll tidy this and finish welding this when I've decided what I'm doing there, and same with that bit there, and the same with this side here. I've still got a little repair to do here, so I'll catch this onto here somehow. So I've got this section, sorry guys, I'm like literally upside down. I've got this section to do just in a similar fashion, and then that section up there to do in a similar fashion, and make a plate bracket support bit here. Just give you guys an example of of how I've done it. You guys can do it too. On to the next step, so there'll be no interruptions. Let's just get fired through this.
How's it going under there?
It's not.
What do you mean?
Just drop the ramp on the head of the and just get it by the way.
It's not that bad.
It's bad by the way.
Really?
Shouldn't have bought it. If I knew this, I wouldn't have bought it. It's just it's opened up kind of worms. The interior needs to come out now.
Full interior?
I pulled the front to fix the front, but the deeper I dig into the back, it's fucking terrible. Like, I'm absolutely raging.
Oh, you're blinding us.
I'm raging, man. And it's bad enough you're laying like this, but it's just, there's just, some of it's soft, some of it's a couple of holes, but this bit here needs a big repair. Box section along here, and then I'm poking holes in which just look like surface rust, but actually when you just stab it with a screwdriver, it's... Oh, fuck off.
That was went right through.
I didn't even know that bit. It's just... Listen. That's the carpet, just we're actually straight through here, give me it. There you go, that's the carpet for the interior, there. So, right there is the interior, so which means the whole interior needs to come out so that we can repair this back section. So guess what? Not today.
Time up.
Time's up.
Night.
I've done some, I've done the front, which I thought was getting progress, but the back just looked like this little bit of box section that I first showed, and it's kind of worms, so I'm fucking raging.
Oh.
I should not have bought this piece of shit Honda. Fucking tied up in cables. This is what to expect though. Fucking dog shit, man. Don't buy a fucking Honda. Cut it.